Hey everyone, this is Pete, and welcome back to Atari A to Z Flashback, a series of short playthroughs of the 150 games that make up Atari Flashback Classics for Nintendo Switch. Today's game is Super Breakout. This was a 1978 release from Atari and the sequel to 1976's Breakout. It was designed by Ed Rotberg, who would later go on to design Battlezone, one of Atari's more technically impressive games from the early days of arcade games. But this was a very popular game in its own right as well, because it's simple and addictive, much like many of Atari's early games. So this was developed after Nolan Bushnell decided that the original Breakout needed updating. It needed some new features and needed to be more impressive. So Rotberg got to work, and the new machine made use of a 6502 microprocessor instead of the discrete logic that the previous game used. So this is a similar situation to what happened with Sprint 2. This allowed for a more complex game with greater variety. So in the case of Super Breakout, we had multiple ways to play, and we had the ability for these levels to have multiple balls in play at once as well, rather than just the single one from the original Breakout. For some reason, Super Breakout later became the pack-in game for the Atari 5200, and a lot of critics at the time thought this was a fairly curious choice because it didn't exactly show the system off to its full potential, really. It was sort of picked apart for having the same number of bricks on the screen as the Atari 2600 version, but it was praised for having better handling of alphanumeric characters. So that's nice, isn't it? Anyway, this is the arcade version we're looking at today, so let's go play Super Breakout.
Okay, here we are with Super Breakout. I absolutely suck at this game, as you can see by my mighty high score of 18 points. So let's try and humiliate myself. Off we go. So this is a paddle-controlled game. So much like the other paddle-control games on the Atari Flashback Classics collection, this makes use of the analog stick and how far left or right you push is how far left or right your paddle moves. And so if you find yourself struggling with this control scheme, as many people do, then I find the best way to handle it is to sort of if you push up or down as a starting point and assume that's the middle. So rather than leaving your stick completely centered, just push straight up or straight down on the stick and then kind of move delicately around the perimeter of the analog stick, and that allows you much preciser control than you would if you're just going to be pushing left or right. I mean, it's still not perfect because it's still incredibly sensitive, but it is reasonably close to how the original paddle control would have felt and been implemented. Oops. So this mode we're playing here, this is called the cavity mode because there are two cavities in the wall that have extra balls in them. So if you can make it as far as those balls, you can have a multi-ball sort of situation because this game isn't chaotic enough already. So mighty score of 13 points there. Let's try again. Now, despite appearances, this was not a colour game. You might be able to see on the screen there that there are coloured strips across the screen. These are just simulated in the Nintendo Switch version. But on the original arcade game, they would have been actual sort of coloured strips of, I don't know, presumably cellophane or something like that, that you could see through. And it simulated a colour display. So this is actually just a black and white game like Atari's other early games. But the addition of those coloured strips allowed it to look like a coloured game. And this was quite a common approach back then. It was also used for things like Space Invaders and all sorts of things. So it made games look better than they were technically capable of being. Now, there are some other ways to play this. Offhand, I'm not entirely sure how you pick between them. Let's just have a look at the options. So control... Change game X. There we go. Okay, so that's cavity. Start one player. Oh, there we go. So we have cavity. This one is progressive, I think, where they advance down the screen. And this one is double, where you have two paddles. So let's have a go at progressive. This is not a game mode where Breakout thinks that everything is racist, but rather a mode where the wall progresses down the screen. As you can see, so it's advanced by a step there. Not sure what that's based on. I don't know if it's based on time or the number of bricks you destroy. But yeah, it advances down the screen a bit at a time, and you need to try and sort of keep as ahead of it as possible. Now, one thing that the coloured bands represent in this game is the value of the bricks. So you notice that when we're destroying a yellow brick, we only get 1 point. But when we destroy a green brick, I think we get 3 points. Yeah, 3 points for that. And so in order to try and get high scores in this mode, you need to break through into those higher value colours if you possibly can. Okay, let's have another go at that, because I actually like that a bit better than the cavity mode. So yeah, 3 points for the green bricks. And then those will presumably escalate in value the further up the screen you go. So the way this moves down and the way that it gradually accelerates... Oh, I suck so bad at this game. The way that this advances down the screen and the way that it accelerates the longer you survive kind of brings to mind later puzzle games. Particularly puzzle games where you are sort of trying to clear the screen of colours and that sort of thing. I'm thinking of things like Puzzle Bobble, Poochie Carrot, that sort of thing. A lot of Taito stuff. So I don't know if they directly drew inspiration from Breakout. I mean, Poochie Carrot definitely did, because Poochie Carrot is basically Breakout with tits, which means it's the best game ever. But yeah, sort of the idea of the playfield moving down and gradually accelerating, in theory, in correlation with your skill level, is very much something that... That was terrible. I moved right out of the way of that, didn't I? It is something that's very much associated with what I think of as the modern puzzle game. And by modern, I mean sort of 16-bit era onwards, I guess. Right, okay. Let's have another go, and let's try the other game mode. So this is the double mode, where we have 2 paddles and 2 balls. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. So you actually have a bit more margin for error in this mode. Because if you miss with that top pedal, you can hit it with the bottom pedal. Which kind of alleviates probably my biggest problem with Super Breakout, which is that the pedals are so fucking tiny. Look at them. They're so small. Which makes it really difficult to actually hit the damn ball. Especially when you're using... Oh god, look at the speed of that. Yeah, especially when you're using controls that are as fiddly and I can't speak, it's going too fast. Yeah, fiddly and finicky as they are in this one. Although... Oh, that was going so well. 159 points. That is the best score I've ever had in Super Breakout in any mode. Let's try that again. That was fun. That was terrible. So you'll see the scoring is slightly different in this mode. So the bottom layers of the green bricks are worth just 1 point in this mode. But again, the further up the screen you advance, the more points you start getting. Yeah, so by the time you get to those top 2 layers of green bricks, then you're getting more points for those. Oh my god, because that was embarrassing. That was just embarrassing. Oh my god, I suck at this game so much. This is one area where I think the console versions of this game are arguably superior, just because they're a little bit more playable. Because the paddle isn't quite so ridiculously tiny. I mean, I get it. They wanted to get more people playing the game and pumping their quarters into it, but there's a point where you just make something too hard, I think. I mean, I don't know if this would have been easier with an actual paddle controller. But certainly, when it gets to this speed, it just feels pretty much impossible. All right, one more time. You just got to kind of get into the habit of anticipating where it's going to fall, I think. It's because when it gets to the higher speed, if you're trying to respond to where it's coming, you're probably already too late to hit it. And so you want to get into position in advance. One more try. One more try. Just one more. Just one more hit. Oh. I hate this game. Concentrate. Concentrate. Oh. Unlucky 13. Oh, for... Why you do this to me, Breakout? Why do you hurt me so? So, I mean, this is regarded as a classic with good reason, because it was very influential in lots of ways. And it's still quite fun to play today if you want a challenge for yourself. I mean, personally speaking, I think I'd rather play something like Arkanoid that feels a little bit more fair. Or indeed Poochie Carrot, which has tits in it. But there's still a certain magical, addictive quality to this one. It's kind of hard to replicate. 7 points. I'm not letting that be my last hurrah in this game. Alright, come on, bring it on. I got this. I have totally 100% got this. Even though I'm aware that I've already dropped my second ball. But it's fine, I didn't need it anyway. Really skilled Breakout players do it with just one ball. Oh no! Come on. I got this. I got this. I have got this. Absolutely 100% got this. I think that's quite enough of that. You know, just out of curiosity, I'm just going to have a look at the leaderboards for that. because it's going to be depressing, isn't it? So that progressive mode, I'm 34th in the world with that pathetic performance. Who is top? 670, Jesus Christ. What else have we got? So in double mode, I'm 12th. Wow. 1,271 in first place though. Not going to be catching that anytime soon. And cavity mode, I'm 127th because I'm absolute garbage at that mode. 595 top score for that one. Well then, okay, that was Super Breakout. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please help out the channel by leaving a like or a comment and subscribing. New episodes of Atari A to Z are on Tuesdays and Atari ST A to Z on Thursdays. Check out atariatoz.wordpress.com for a full archive. Do please also check out my other projects moegamer.net, where I explore Japanese and Japanese-inspired games from yesterday and today, and videopackgames.wordpress.com, which aims to catalogue the small but well-formed library of the Philips G7000 Videopack computer, also known as the Magnavox Odyssey 2. You can also support my work on Patreon or buy me a coffee. You can find links to do both down in the video description. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.